So we are ready to start our book club kickback. We have our book clubs waiting in the wings, and we also have the author. So we're gonna just add them all on to the screen, and then we'll do like a roll call of the book clubs, and then we'll start with our discussion. So I am admitting everybody who has signed on, and
all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
I finally
so we haven't
the whole book. I'm ready to go.
we haven't had one of these in a while.
Yeah.
I think the last one we had was with Brandon, I think. Brandon Massey. And that was a entertaining conversation.
It was. I like Brandon though.
So I don't know what happened to my, let me see. Did I get everybody? Okay, I'm waiting on the author to get her audio on. And we want to welcome everyone who's watching and also the book clubs who signed on and agreed to participate in the conversation. We're excited about discussing the book, and we also want to congratulate Sadeqa for not only another amazing book that she wrote, but also making the New York Times bestseller list for 2 weeks. And she may have made it more than 2, but I know she made it for 2. And that's exciting because that's not something that every author does. It's uncommon, actually. So we want to congratulate her. So now that we have the book clubs on the screen, we want to do a roll call of the book clubs and tell us the book club you're in and where you're located. So we'll start with, I'm just going on the screen. I'll do LaWanna Johnson because she unmuted first.
How you doing? Hi, Gwen. How you doing today?
How are you doing? What book club are you with and where you located?
Black Pearls Keeping It Real book club located in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, in Dallas. Okay, who Bunny Irvin? Why don't you go next?
I'm with the African Violence Book Club and the Sweet Soul Sisters Book Club, and we're in Maryland, DC, Virginia.
Okay, it was DMV. That's where Rhonda lives. Okay, next, Jackie Handy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jackie Handy, and I'm with the Mommy Network Book Club, and we're located here in Houston, Texas.
The Mommy Network. Okay.
Okay. Is it Charlie Pettyjohn? Where'd she go? Wait a minute. So whoever wants to chime in, just go ahead. Because I think people are, something's happening and some of these spots are being rearranged. So who is that? Angela Wood, do you want to go next?
Okay, I'm Angela Angie Wood. I am with the United Sisters Book Club, and I'm also a member of the Sweet Soul Sisters with Bunny in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area.
So we need to keep in touch too then.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Deanne Carter, your face isn't on, but
Hi there, this is Dion Carter.
okay.
I am also with the Mommy Network Book Club in Houston, Texas.
Okay. And I've known Dion for many years. Since our children were small.
Many years.
Yeah, many years. So
Eden was 24 yesterday.
I saw that. I like the picture too. I was one of your likes. Okay, Faith Valentine.
Hi.
Hi, you're not on screen, but let us know which book club you're with and where you're located.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm sorry.
Well, while we're waiting on Faith, Charlie Pettyjohn, do you want to tell us what book club you're with and where you're located?
Hi, I'm in the At the Kitchen Table Book Club, and
We're, I guess you could say Atlanta or Decatur, Georgia.
Okay. And who else do we need to hear from? I think everybody except for Faith Valentine has, oh, Melinda. Melinda, I don't know the last name, but Melinda, do you want to tell us the book club you're in and where you're located?
Hi, I'm with the At the Kitchen Table Book Club. We're in 2 different states. We're in Georgia and in Florida. So Faith and Shalai are in the club with.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm
Okay.
sorry about that.
That's okay. You didn't know I was going to call you. So it was fine. So Faith, you're in which book club?
I am at the Kitchen Table Book Club. That's actually, they are in, as Melinda said, they're in Atlanta, they're in Georgia, but I'm in South Florida.
Okay. All right. So we have a good representation. Nobody on the West Coast tonight, but we have a good representation of people. So we're going to bring on, I see her face, but Sadeqa, we wanted to have you say hello, and we're ready to talk about the book, The House of Eve. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight.
Yeah, and congratulations on your book success.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful. It's I'm still so giddy.
Yeah, well, I would be too. So a couple of things before we start talking about the book. I mentioned that it made the New York Times bestseller list. I saw that it was there for 2 weeks. Did it stay there for an additional week?
2 weeks.
It was 2 weeks.
2
Well,
weeks,
congrats
yes.
on that. That is just amazing.
Thank
And
you.
also, Reese Witherspoon's book club picked the book. Now, how did that come about?
So the publishing house, they normally will pitch a few different titles to the Celebrity Book Club. So I know that they were actively pitching The House of Eve. And I got a call in late September from my editor, and she asked me if I could pop on a Zoom call. And so I said, of course, even though I was feeling like I didn't look like I wanted to meet anybody. I had on like a ratty t-shirt and my hair was all over my head, but I was like, all right, no problem, I'll jump on. And it was her and my agents and some sales reps from Simon & Schuster. And she said that that Reese Witherspoon's book club had selected The House of Eve, and the only caveat is they would need to move the book. It was originally a March 7th pub. So they would need to move it to March to February. Was I okay with that? And I was like, that's not a caveat. You can move the book and do whatever you need to do. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So that's why it ended up coming out in February instead of March. So it actually got on the market earlier, and during Black History Month, even though and it is a book one could read for Black history.
You're right.
I mean,
It is.
there's lots of history in there.
Layers.
Lots of layers. So well, we can start our discussion now, and I want to throw out one of the questions, and then anybody else can chime in at any time. But this book, it seems like, and based on what you did in The Yellow Wife, which I love The Yellow Wife. It's one of my was one of my favorites from last year. If not, it was in the top 3 of my books that I read. If not at the top, I hadn't really ordered them like that. But there's so much history in this book. What made you pick the storyline that you decided on for this book?
Well, I was inspired by stories from my own family. I was thinking about my grandmother told me that she had been the black sheep of our family, and that she got pregnant with my mom at 14 and she had her at 15, and she was unmarried and she didn't have a husband in sight. And so in the early 1950s, there was a lot of shame around her being pregnant. And so they hid the pregnancy from everyone. My mom told me that she didn't know my grandmother was her mother until she was in the 3rd grade, because up until that point, she had been living with her grandmother and it was never openly discussed. And that sort of got me thinking about what types of options did my grandmother have as a Black woman in the early 1950s in North Philadelphia when she found herself pregnant and married? What was available to her? And that sort of set me on this research journey where I discovered these maternity homes.
Wow.
Hmm.
That part was very, very deep to me. Because we would hear the stories about families sending their pregnant daughter away. And when so there would be no shame on the family. But I always just thought about them sending the daughter away to a distant relative. I never thought about these maternity homes, and then how mean the nuns were to the young girls in the homes. Was that a part of your research too, the way they were treated in these homes?
Oh, absolutely. I've read several accounts in the homes where secrecy was a big thing. And so the girls, they went by first names. In some homes, they had numbers. They didn't even go by names. Oftentimes, the girls were forced and coerced. They were called names, very much the way I described it in the book. If they changed their mind about giving up their baby, they were often told that they would be arrested, that they were psychotic, that they were unfit to raise a child, and all because they were pregnant outside of wedlock. And a lot of these homes were run by religious organizations, and they thought, or they approached it as if they were doing God's will.
Well, there was no love from that mother that ran that home from her. There wasn't any agape love or any kind that she expressed or showed. It was really just meanness. But that story about your grandmother or your mother not knowing that your grandmother was her mother till later, that's a common story in our community, especially in rural areas. I don't know, but well, in Philadelphia, I guess it was happening in the cities too, but that was a common story with young girls who got pregnant, as teenagers. And it was a way to protect both the mother and the child by still, raising them in the home and having the protection of the family. But that is a common theme. So anybody else can jump in anytime if you all have a comment or a question or anything else.
We'll take over the whole hour.
Yeah, we can talk. Y'all know we talk every week. So we can talk the whole conversation if you all are shy, or because we do want the book clubs to participate.
I was sad. I was really sad about that the house and how they treated the girls, because the pamphlet was like, it was amazing. And then they got there. Oh my God. Okay. I would have ran away with Sister Girl and her baby.
Yeah.
Bubbles with Bubbles.
Yeah, I would have left with her when she said, I would have been, I'm going too. I would have had to, but then the book might have not turned out the way it did. So, okay. Because I'm waiting for part 2.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying very hard not to mention the ending, because there are a lot of people who were probably watching who haven't read the book.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, because we told people to read the book. So we can, if it's spoilers, if people don't want spoilers, then they maybe stop the audio or something like that, because they were supposed to read the book. That's why we're discussing it. And the people who are watching, and we're not going to tell every single detail. So this book has so many layers that it's not possible for us to, spoil the whole story for anybody. So it's a beautifully written book, and the research is amazing. The detail, down to the details about the hair, what they put in their hair, and the way they prepared the food. It was very meticulously written.
I like the complications of the characters, because I didn't see any character as inherently or totally bad or totally good. Even the mothers, like the white mother who found out that her son had impregnated a Black girl. She could have been totally evil in that moment, but she kept her word, and she actually did her a favor. I mean, it was sad in the way that it happened, but the girl was able to get her education, and she may not have been able to get it otherwise. So I was actually surprised that she responded to that situation. Yes, it was in a way it was mean because of the way she talked to her, but at the same time, she's like, all right, I'm gonna do you a favor, but I need you to stay away from my son. And so I felt like that was a complicated moment because she felt that she was protecting her child, but at the same time, she was actually helping this girl. And I wonder, would she have become a doctor had that situation not have happened? So I mean, I didn't hate her. I didn't hate her or love her in that moment.
She did what she had to do.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I try to put myself in that mother's in that mother's shoes.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how successful they would have been had they gotten together, Shimmy and Rose.
Right.
Ruby.
It would have been
Ruby.
Ruby. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rose was the mother that I didn't like.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ruby and Shimmy, that was like Romeo and Juliet almost. I mean,
Yes, it was.
they wouldn't
Yeah, I
have
mean,
had much of a chance.
the mother said, Shimmy is a fool. You're a smart girl. I mean, she basically, that thing wasn't it wasn't gonna work.
Right.
You know, I just don't think it was gonna work. Even if she'd kept the baby, then she would have had issues, and she probably would have started feeling towards the baby the way her mother felt towards her, you know.
Right. Right.
So you know, I did appreciate that. I didn't care for her mother, Ruby's mother, really, you know.
Right.
Anytime a
No.
woman puts a man over her
And
child,
didn't
I'm
even
just
ask the baby any questions. She's just like,
just
go.
go, get away, get out, you know. I loved her aunt. I that one I did. But one of the interesting things that I liked about the book, and I guess it's because I'm it had me even looking up I pulled up this old map. I'm a Washingtonian from Washington, D.C. My great grandmother was born here in 1906. And so the detail that she put in describing Detroit Park and the areas in Howard and all out, it got me. I went and started Googling some looking at the timeline and Googling, I found a map that had a certain particular streets and everything. Because I remember my great grandmother when she said that she lived early on and whatever. So that was really nostalgic for me to just read this story interjecting Washington D.C.'s history in it. That was I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad because I always hope that I get it right. And so I guess what you're saying is I got it right.
Yeah, I think you did, from it was just enjoyable to read and the juxtaposition between the Ruby and the Howard, what was her name? Eleanor, yeah, Eleanor. And when she went to Howard, the things that she was dealing with, and it was interesting to see, the racism that was going on, between, how the Jews and the whites were treating the blacks. You saw that with Ruby's story, and then the inner racism between the colorism and the culturalism in the Black community was an interesting story to tell too.
Yeah, I wrote that down. The colorism was a subplot of the book. It was I mean, it was real. It was a serious subplot because I know there are communities where, there are families that the ones in our area used to be called proctors, but the Proctor family, I don't
Yeah.
know, but they would intermarry. So to keep the light skin in their family, they would marry their first cousins or whatever, and they would not, they would not marry anybody who was brown or dark. Everybody was like, I did not like Rose. I didn't hate her, but I did not like Rose. And I didn't like Shimmy's mom either. So the two mothers of the sons, the fathers, I didn't like that. They were so domineering and so mean and so dismissive and so possessive. They all of that. They was just
I almost didn't blame the Shimmy's mother for being the way that she was. If you really look at it, her son wasn't all that bright. Her husband was a drunk. She had to be overbearing because she was the only one holding the family together.
Yeah, but she didn't have to be so mean.
Yeah, she was mean
to Ruby. That's all I'm saying.
It felt like she
but it was well written because the whole interaction was jarring and well written, and it was impactful.
Right.
And then you have to consider the time.
I do. I still didn't like it. But whenever you can really dislike characters or really love characters,
and you know that they're well written.
It's well written.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
So one thing that stood out to me
was
was
on
just
a
we're
range
talking
of
about
emotion. The one thing I did really like was
Oh, who's talking?
I hear two people talking.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I was saying one thing that stuck out to me was that the aunt had the wherewithal to draw up a contract with
yes.
Rose. And I guess since we talked about, Rose and her underlying rationale and whatnot, do you think she would have followed through on her promise had she not signed the contract?
So I struggled a lot with Mrs. Shapiro and the promise and what she would do. And sometimes as an author, I have to look at it in three ways, like what I want to happen, what needs to happen so that the reader is satisfied with the story, and and what actually would have happened. And so those are the three things that I'm often thinking about when I'm trying to tie up a book. So it was I went back and forth on would Sylvia Shapiro keep her word? Did the contract make her keep her word? Or, as a white Jewish woman, could she just have thrown up her hands and say, they're lying, I didn't do it,
Right.
So it was definitely a lot of consideration on my part for that scene, for sure.
Yeah.
When that scene came up, I was in my mind, I said, okay, how is she going to make sure that she doesn't renege on her promise? And then you wrote that the aunt said about the contract. So I already had that in my mind that she wouldn't, she would just deny it, because back then Black people really couldn't challenge you in court. You couldn't really do. Now with the contract, you had a better chance.
Even with the contract, she could have denied the contract. I mean,
she could have. Right. So, but you had at least something, as opposed to nothing. So, I'm glad that ended up happening.
Yeah, I wanted to say I really liked the aunt as well. She was a straight shooter. She didn't take any stuff. Everybody needs an aunt like that in their lives. But what I wanted to go back to also was on the colorism and the what I call classism between Eleanor and William. Even though now they have a child, and who knows, eventually people may figure out how they got the child. But do you think Eleanor would ever truly be happy and content in that relationship and in that family? Would they ever truly embrace her, and would she ever really let her guard down and be happy? Anybody?
Probably not all the way.
Probably not. Yeah.
Not all the way. she's always going to be like an outsider.
Yeah.
I see it a little bit differently because
Okay.
Rose did not have to come clean with her and tell her why she treated her the way that she treated her. I think for a while there is going to be some distrust, but I think that because Rose was truthful with her and didn't have to be, and that she even went home and said, go, told her son, go get your wife, that showed her that she meant that she is making amends.
Right. I think, yeah,
I believe that
with the olive branch, when she drove out to Ohio to her, when she drove out to Ohio to her, I think that was her like extending the olive branch and trying to show her that, yeah, you weren't my bestest first choice, but you know, my son loves
you.
You know, and so we're gonna make it work. I don't want him to be unhappy. And so I think that she had some acceptance to that. I do believe that probably there was going to always be some point of contention. You're not going to get past that. But I do think that helped. I think that helped.
Yeah, but I don't think she would ever be like 100% all in. That's what I mean. As far
No,
as,
I don't think so either. But I also think that a part of her would be feeling, you know, because she feels like she failed him because she was not able to give him a child of, you know, from her womb, from him. I just shook my head when she came up with that epiphany. Oh, this baby you want me to adopt is his baby. He been cheating on me. And she done created this whole thing in her head. And it just was funny how we can make ourselves think and believe stuff that's not necessarily true.
That's true. But when she said the green eyes already ran in the family, that's what Rose said it. So then that planted the seed.
And that's why I think she'll always be second guessing herself and second guessing the situation.
She probably would be second guessing herself, but she should have thought about it. Rose is always a person who keeps up appearances. And when Rose made that statement, I didn't see it as, oh, this is really my son's child. I saw it as she's trying to practice.
To make
right. I saw it that way too.
That's what
I thought. Eleanor,
she's just working that thing out so she can feel. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I will say this is that I really love a disturbing dinner table scene. I feel like I've done that in about 2 or 3 of my novels where table something sort of blows up, you know, in my 3rd novel. And then there was me, you know, there was a infamous dinner scene where a gun shows up, and then in Yellow Wife there was the dinner scene when all the yellow wives and the husbands got together, and that was a thing. And so I do love a disturbing dinner party scene.
Every book
in my novels
going to have a disturbing dinner scene because I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, Tyler Perry, that's the best scene in Why Did I Get Married? When they were at that dinner table. So a dinner table scene.
Yeah, or The Color Purple. Remember,
a lot of stuff can come out over food.
Yep. Oh my goodness. And there was a nod to the Yellow Wife because Rose's family was Rose, they were descendants of the girls that made it out, and one of them passed and the other one chose not to. So that was, you know, that was kind of cool, you know, that she gave a little nod to the Yellow Wife.
The Yellow Wife. I thought that was great because Phoebe, the name Phoebe, we talked about that when you were on the show with the Yellow Wife, where you got the name, the different spelling of Phoebe from. So when I saw that, I said, okay, she put the Yellow Wife in here.
Right.
So I thought that would just be, you know, I do like to somehow connect books where I can. And I know that you guys are still thinking about characters from past books. So I know that's a nice, satisfying way to sort of reconnect with them, even if it's just briefly. You get that little glimpse of them in the next book.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Now I'm assuming that they induced Ruby's labor
I'm
Yeah.
thinking that's what they
Yeah.
did.
early.
Yeah, they did. You
Did,
know,
did
so that they can get that baby on the same time frame.
Right.
Because it went from a
born in
boy to a
January.
girl.
Right. And I'm like, how you make a mistake like that? That's the first thing you look at when a baby's born. But I was wondering how
wanted it
she
to
was
be
gonna
a
pull that off.
Well,
I
no,
wanted it
the
to be a
mistake.
girl because her mama dreamed it was a girl.
Right. Well, no, the mistake, it was no mistake. The plan was that it was going to be Loretta's
baby.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Right. And so
but the
Loretta's
mother
baby was
said,
a boy. Yeah.
right. The
yeah.
mother said it was a mistake, or she must have
Right.
misspoke or something to that
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah,
So,
but it was going to be Loretta's baby, but
Right.
her baby wound up having a blind eye.
Ptosis.
Yeah,
Ptosis.
what do you call it?
Yeah.
Ptosis.
Ptosis. Yeah. It was
Okay.
called ptosis. Mhm.
Yeah. And so I guess that you couldn't have any imperfections.
Yeah.
Right. That was
And that
disturbing too. You know, that was pretty
Mm.
disturbing too.
And
You
then they
know,
would end up in
even
an
to the point
orphanage and
where
never
they
be
said
adopted.
that,
Why not let them take the baby home instead of sending it to an orphanage?
Or the girl's family wanted
it, right?
Wanted the baby.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean, just terrible. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
That ain't godly.
Now I tell you, I like William, and I felt like Eleanor was getting on my nerves because you know, because of her insecurity, she became accusatory towards him and everything, and he was always like there for her on point. She was the one who had been lying to him,
right?
You know, he forgave her for that. You know, I was like, and then I thought, Lord, please don't let that girl get in no trouble with the workman that's fixing the bathroom.
Yes. Oh my God.
The avocado with
Mr. Bernie.
Yeah.
Mr. Bernie.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. If she do that, I am done with her. Done.
Exactly. William was always gone.
Oh my God.
He was a
could
he
build
was studying to be a doctor.
Yeah, but Greta was always hanging around. I didn't like her either because she was always hanging around.
Either.
And so if she could have convinced William to cheat, then she would have. I mean,
yeah.
I liked him.
I did. I liked him.
He was a good one.
Loyal. He was a good one.
He was.
He was a good one.
I don't know. He just seemed like he was a little too good, though. Book wise, I didn't want him to be a cheater or anything like that. But I just felt like even when he was angry, he got over his anger so quickly. I just wanted him to have an attitude for a little while, you know?
Right.
I liked that he was a good guy and he was good looking. So,
he was a very good guy. But you found out that your wife had lied to you about something. And I just felt like he got over that very quickly. When she went off on him and accused him of cheating on her, he got over it. I mean, he just was a really, really good guy.
I wanted him to stew a little bit more, a little more stewing.
Yeah, I didn't want him to be a cheater. I didn't want him to be an abuser. I wanted him to continue being a good guy.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to, like you just said, maybe just stew a little bit more.
Stew a little bit.
Oh.
She didn't tell him about pregnancy, but she probably was thinking it wasn't going to be a factor.
I was like, did she lie to him? I don't remember her lying.
She just didn't tell him. I guess she lied by omission.
But she did lie. He asked her when they first had relations. He said, "Have you ever done this before?" She said, "No."
I don't remember him asking.
No, she didn't say no.
She
didn't say
what
no.
page
She
was
didn't
that
say
on?
no. No, she didn't say no. She didn't answer.
Say no. I thought she told him no.
Say no. No,
Okay,
she never answered.
Ain't
Yeah, she
nobody
never
counting.
answered.
Oh, I thought she said no. I
No,
thought
it was
she
in
said
it was in
no.
the throes and the heat of the
Right.
passion,
Yeah.
you know. So she
Okay.
never
Right.
answered.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, because I don't remember her answering.
Now I
Yeah.
have a
I thought
question.
well, I did look. I answered it. I did. I
I'm
answered
going in here
forward.
looking something.
Oh,
I'm looking through my book. But I had a question. Was it Inez? No, yeah, Inez. Is that the name of the mother?
Yes, I
that's
know.
so cold.
I didn't know. When
Bruh.
when was she pregnant? I missed it. Did I read
What?
over it? I
Remember
mean,
when
I
they
missed
was
her being
pregnant at the
pregnant.
same time?
They were pregnant at the same time.
Missed it. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Oh
must have
my
maybe
goodness.
sometimes I'll be reading a book and I fall asleep, and then the book will just drop on and maybe I missed my.
You know what, Gwen? You're
That's
not
what
alone.
happened.
I was kind
I
of
have
shocked
slept
too when
read.
I
I have
found when
slept
she had
read.
that baby. I missed
Okay,
it too.
I don't remember her
Oh,
being
Sure.
pregnant.
it was kind of a quick scene. It was
Oh,
more
okay.
like, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly, it was like at a Christmas holiday or something. And she just said, "Oh, like my mom is pregnant," and that sort of
But
thing. So
did
it
she
wasn't
go
a
to the
long, drawn
house?
out thing. Yeah, it wasn't a big drawn out.
Okay,
Right.
'cause
Right.
Yeah,
normally wouldn't have missed
it
that
was sort of quick.
detail.
No, didn't she go to the house and she was standing there and the mama was pregnant? And
That's
she was
what I
She was
thought.
pregnant
fixing
too?
chili.
The mama was
She was
pregnant.
making chili,
Yeah. And they was
and she
pregnant
went
at
to
the
the house.
same time.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed it.
What in the world?
I overread that. I did when at the end when she had the baby, I'm like, a baby? What?
Mhm.
That was a surprise.
Now I will say, and I don't know, maybe I missed it, and y'all, if I missed it, let me know. I really wasn't sure why Inez was always so cold toward Ruby, and I feel like this predated the kiss,
Mhm.
It
because
did.
if she weren't so cold toward, if she didn't feel the way that she felt about her daughter when that kiss happened, she would have kicked her man out and not her daughter. So I always just wonder, why did she never really seem to like her daughter, and then why did they just never talk again? So what was it that was going on between them? And it may have been something that I missed, so if I missed it, somebody let me know.
Remember when she came home from the internship? She went to see her mom.
Yeah.
And
they
she talked
and she
about it.
told her.
She told her.
then.
Mhm.
She
Okay,
said
that's
that
why I said I may have missed that part. Why did she
was
say
in
she
she
It
was
said
in
like, yeah.
love with the daddy, but the daddy wasn't in love with her.
And he was one of those highfalutin families.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so the
was it
family
that he
rejected
wasn't
her.
in love with her, or was it the parents again?
No, it was him. I thought
It was
because
him and it
after
was the
she
whole
gave it
thing.
to him,
Yeah,
that was
he was
it. He was gone.
yeah, he was hitting it and quitting it. That was it.
He hit it. She gave
That
it
was it.
up. Yeah,
And so
Yeah.
he
she
Do you
do that
think that?
sometimes.
she felt like,
Do you think that
this
her
baby
boyfriend?
ruined her life.
Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what you say?
I was asking, do you feel like her boyfriend was in love with her? Because he just seemed like he was just there for the convenience of it.
Who
He
Lee?
wasn't in love with her.
Lee ain't nothing
And do
but
you
a
think that she would treat that baby the same way that she treated Ruby?
no, cause she gonna
No,
get married now. Remember
Oh,
she
you
showed
mean
her
Lee?
ring. She gonna get married now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leap was a jerk.
Ew.
Yeah,
And why
he
is it that it's
Uh,
always the responsibility of the child? I mean, of course, we teach our daughters, hey, you always should cover up and stuff, but isn't that kind of one-sided? Should we be talking about the men that are looking at these younger ladies?
I
Like,
think
is
it's
it nobody
I
ever
might be
talks
old
about that?
fashioned, but I think it's
Yeah.
both. The men shouldn't be looking at the girls like that.
Right.
But at
Right.
the same time, I mean, I live in a house with two men, my boyfriend and my son. I'm not gonna walk around any kind
Right.
of way in front of
Right.
my son. I'm not worried about how he's gonna be looking at me. I just think it's disrespectful to
Right.
both of the
Right.
men who are in the house. And I feel
Right.
like, and I tell my daughter when before my daughter moved to Florida, the same way, walk around a certain way. It's not that I think that, I mean, I very much trust my man, but it doesn't mean that we should disrespect anybody in the household by just walking around
Right.
uncovered or any type of way.
Right.
I'm not worried about the looking. It's just a respect thing.
Right.
I think it should be balanced. He shouldn't be looking at the girl like that, but at the same time, the girl should
Be dressing.
be a little bit more modest, I think, in front of,
Right.
of the man figures in the house.
Yeah, but Leap he was horrible.
Yeah,
he was a pig.
I mean, I don't care
He
how
was a
he would have
pig.
looked. He
Yeah.
would have been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because anytime you tell your whoever paramours, your girlfriend's daughter to kiss you on the face, and then you turn and try to give her some
With
tongue
your
and
mouth.
all that, that's just nasty.
He ain't no good. Mm-mm.
Look, I got so caught up in the discussion. People were like, "What's the name of the book? What's the name of the book?" So thank you to everybody in the audience who is paying attention.
Oh.
I'm about to post the website.
I thought I showed the cover, but if they tuned in late, they would have.
Yeah, they might have tuned in late.
Well, you can see the cover behind me.
Yeah.
Yes, I always try and show it with my cover, so so people know.
Oh yeah, the cover's behind it.
Yes.
But some of the comments are no one likes Rose.
No, I liked her in the end.
Yeah.
When she came with her fur coat on, her fur hat, her fur gloves, everything, and gave the bracelet.
But she's another complicated character, I think.
Yeah, she is.
Because we all want what we feel is the best for our kids.
Right.
And when she first looked at Eleanor, she saw her as a poor girl who was not going to take her son where she felt like he should be. Right. And so I understand the prejudgment. Now the continued judgment.
Hello.
Yeah, that's something a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, the way I thought about Rose's character actually is I was thinking that William's family was the family with the money, right? Because William says that he's going to be the third generation doctor. And I sort of saw Rose as, she was from Virginia. She wasn't a Washingtonian, as they were three generations, upper echelon Black families. I felt like she came from a little something, but she didn't come from quite what William's family did. So when she married into that family, it was very important for her to, one, keep her place in the family and also make sure that nobody sort of pulled them apart. And she saw Eleanor as sort of a blemish on this legacy that she was trying to build, with her family and keeping up those appearances that William's family had already had.
I totally see that. And that's why I will tell you this. I was scared. I thought she was poisoning Eleanor. Remember, because remember how she the first miscarriage happened right after she ate the food that Rose had sent over there.
Oh, I didn't even think that.
No, I didn't.
I was so scared. I was like, is she this evil? If she really wants to break them up so badly that she'll get rid of the baby so they'll break up? Because when the Rose made a statement about, well, there's no baby anymore. You don't have to get married, and he married anyway. So I was scared that.
Thank God he stood up.
In Illinois.
Yeah, I didn't like Rose.
Well, I'm glad William stood up and was explaining that he was in love and he was going to do it anyway.
He did.
Yeah. I like William.
He did have some backbone.
I love William.
Yes.
He was a good guy in there. Yeah. Now I have questions about the cover. I think the cover is beautiful, but I wonder why there's no face.
So I particularly don't like faces on my covers because I feel like when I'm writing the story, I sort of have a visual in my head of what the characters look like, but it's not going to match the visual you have in your head. Right. And I feel like when you see a face on the cover, it sort of throws everything off. So I sort of like to leave it to the imagination. I did the same thing with Yellow Wife. I did the same thing with my first novel, Love in a Carry-On Bag. I sort of like to leave the face for your own interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't the Yellow Wife have a face, but it was a profile? Didn't it?
Well, Yellow Wife
well,
was a
it's
profile.
like to
Yellow
your
was
neck.
a-
It's like right here. It's not. It's like her
Oh,
chin.
It didn't
okay.
have a
Okay,
head.
not the whole
Yeah,
face.
it's not the whole.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. All right.
Well,
And
even not even. I mean, hearing
it's
your
just sort of the
discussion of
long
it.
neck. Yeah.
Yeah, hearing your discussion, that makes, I get it. But I thought was that because those places, those houses, it was anonymity. You know, you don't. I thought that might be why you only just saw that, because it was an anonymous place. But thanks for
I like that
sharing the real
too.
reason.
I like
Yeah.
that too. I like that too. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, it's like it's a metaphor.
And
Mhm.
also
Or a person.
too, I feel like you could interchange both women on the cover. That could
Yeah,
be
yeah.
that could be Eleanor, that could be Ruby. The
Yeah.
house behind it could be the House of Eve, or it could be Howard University. So I felt like it was sort of a universal cover.
Yeah, although she's pretty well dressed for her to be Ruby or Eleanor.
No. You don't
Mm-mm.
know what.
Although back
on
then
now.
people did dress.
Yeah.
People
Come
did
on
dress back
now.
then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know they had their gloves and stuff on.
They did. They did. I think the cover is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very eye-catching. And I
How
know when
did
they
you
do the
decide on the
cover,
name?
every little detail matters, when you do a cover.
Now I had 3 sayings that I wrote down that I had never heard. At least one of them I hadn't heard.
Okay, now
Don't
I got one probably for you too. So give us yours.
don't let your mouth match the gasoline on an ass whipping. Oh my God.
Okay, what's the other one? What are the other ones?
Okay, the other one, you done pulled a seat up to a game that your ass can't win.
Oh,
You gotta see. You gotta see. Now the
Okay.
other one I've heard, early was on time was late, and late was unacceptable.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah, I've heard that
It's in
too.
military, Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that told me that they were in the military, and that's where they heard it. The people who told me that. So this one wasn't a phrase. It was just a word, because I read a lot, so it's not common that I encounter a word I don't know. And this is a small word, and I looked it up because I said, is this a real word or is it a made up word? It's futzing. Futzing. I've never seen that word.
huh.
And I looked it up, and the dictionary on my phone said it wasn't a word. So I had to go online to Google's dictionary. I said, I might have to pull out my paper, my unabridged. But it did have it on the Google dictionary online. But on my
Okay.
phone dictionary, the app didn't have it.
So I'm still accurate. I'm still batting 1,000 on my accuracy. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that.
But I learned a new word. And we were talking about that last week, Rhonda. I started to post it and tag you and Brian, because we were talking last week about reading books and learning new words. And so, that was a good one. I mean, that one, now, is that a word you knew, or is that a word you already knew? Or how when you're writing, you will find words because you're writing and you're looking for other words to use instead of using the same words over and over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
no,
is
I
that a
do know
word
what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I got it from, but it wasn't something that I've heard it before. So it could have just sort of, sometimes words just sort of make their way into my consciousness, and then they end up in the book. And then sometimes I look up words to make it fresh.
Okay, that was the new one. So, and it was a small word, but I had never seen it before.
So I had a question about shimmy. And what was your basis for Shimmy's character. And I was kind of like, so is he like a microcosm of all good-hearted white people that think, oh, everything's gonna be fine, it's great. And it's like, no, you just don't get it. You don't get it.
Yeah.
Shimmy was getting on my nerves with that. I don't think who knows. I'm like, that girl can get home fooling with you.
Right. Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Shimmy, actually, when I was thinking about my own family history, so the reason why my grandparents did not get married was because my grandfather was very light skinned and my grandmother was mahogany brown. They were from different sections of North Philadelphia. And so, like oil and water, they were not intended to mix in the Black community. And so, when I was thinking about writing that, I was talking to my daughters. I write during the day and then I'll pick them up from school. And so, we're sort of, the story's still going through my head. And so sometimes I'm telling them and asking them and sort of working things out. And my daughter says, no, Mom, don't make him light skinned. She was like, make him Italian, up the ante a little bit.
Mhm.
And then when I thought about the layout of Philadelphia, I was already committed to North Philadelphia. And I knew that Italians and Blacks lived in South Philadelphia. So when I realized that it was Jews and Blacks that lived very close proximities in North Philadelphia, I thought, oh, he needs to be Jewish. And so that was sort of the beginning of the research of like what their lives were like and how did they intersect. And then I just created the characters from there.
How old is your daughter?
She's 17 now, but she was probably about 15 when she made that suggestion.
All right.
It certainly added a layer to the story. Well, this has been a great discussion. I want to give us enough time to do the trivia so we can give away the 3 autographed copies.
I forgot about the trivia. Let's
House
get this
of
done.
Eve. So, the first question and the trivia, anyone can win. You can be in a book club on the screen, or you can be one of the viewers watching online. So the first question is, what was the name of the sorority? And you don't speak it aloud, you have to type it. So let me open the chat. Okay.
Oh my
And you have to do the whole name. What was the name of the sorority at Howard University that Eleanor wanted to join? You have to do the whole name. The first one who does
It's not typing.
wins the book. Okay. So somebody did ABC, but they have to do Alpha Beta Chi. And Melinda, I think Melinda got that one first.
Melinda did it.
Okay.
Congratulations, Melinda.
Okay, so Melinda, since you haven't won a book on the show before, since you haven't won a book before, you'll need to DM us your full name and mailing address so we can mail you. But I'm gonna write down Melinda.
Congratulations,
Let me go back to
Melinda.
the chat. Let me go back to the chat so I can write my
Okay, all right, next one, because we got 2 more to give away. Okay, the next question. Ruby's boyfriend, Shimmy, was going to college so he could enter what profession?
Oh no, I spelled it wrong.
Okay, what's that, Shali?
Shali.
She got it.
Okay.
Oh, blast it.
Well, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. It scrolled up too fast.
Well, I was looking at it when it popped up.
Yeah, Shali, even though
I didn't spell it right. I'm sorry.
You didn't get the whole word, but
okay.
It's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So Shali,
if I didn't get it right, it's okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, girl. Go ahead. It's okay. You got it.
Okay. You'll need to
wait. Let me get back to chat. Wait, let me get back to chat.
Okay. Okay. So
okay.
Charlie, you'll need to. The answer is accountant. And the first answer was Alpha Beta Chi. So I didn't say that. So that was the first answer. And so
the next question.
The final question. So Charlie, DM us your full name. Well, we got your name and your mailing address. Okay, the final question. Ready? Okay. The girls at the House of Magdalene had a pet name for this home for unwed mothers. What was the pet name?
Oh my God, I know what it is. Oh, I know what it is.
I know what it is too.
I know what it is too, but I'm looking at the answer.
I don't know what it is. I
And it
can't
was mentioned
remember.
several times. You know, when I came up with the question, it was only mentioned once, but then she mentioned it 3 or 4 times. So later on.
Bernita said baby mamas.
No, Lydia said the greenhouse. No, that's not
Honey
it.
said Petworth. No.
It is not Petworth. It's a name that's okay. I'm gonna give y'all a sub clue. It's a name that could be associated with Christmas.
Santa's elves.
I don't know the answer. I thought everybody, once she mentioned it 3 or 4 times, I thought everybody would get it.
And wait a minute. If y'all didn't know the lady was pregnant, I cannot remember that name. Wait a minute.
They only mentioned it once. The pet name was mentioned at least 3 times, possibly 4.
I don't know.
I think maybe 4.
Yeah, I think so. I'm surprised.
Next question.
No, that's it. It's only 3
Last
books.
question.
It's 3 books we're giving away, and this is
You
the
gotta
last
come
one.
up with another question.
No, I worked hard on these trivia.
Ain't nobody
Bernita, the
know
answer is not
but
Santa's
the ones
elves.
that-
I was just playing.
We were too traumatized by the girl having the baby and running out. We didn't
Bernita's
remember
over here
that.
making up. She making up names. The house of the baby mamas.
Santa's
house of the
elves.
baby mama.
I don't remember.
No, Santa's elves. Okay, let me see if I can think of one more clue. Okay, here it is. It's something sweet.
The green monster.
How is that sweet?
It is sweet.
A green
Cause
monster.
that avocado
No,
she
the
was eating
answer.
with that
Oh,
man
she said
was
green
sweet.
monster.
The answer. Oh, you said how's the green monster sweet?
I cannot
Okay,
do
somebody
that.
said candy cane.
cane.
No, it's not
No,
candy cane.
Jackie.
No,
Sorry.
It's not candy cane.
But
If
you
I-
are barking up the right tree. You're in the
Well,
The
Was it
Florida.
camphor? No,
The-
it wasn't camphor.
somewhat.
Peppermint prison.
Okay, Lydia got it.
Oh, I
Lydia
like that
got it.
peppermint prison. I'm gonna use
What
that.
Lydia
was it?
Prue online got the answer.
What
It's
she
was
said
it?
was?
the gingerbread house.
Oh,
I don't remember her
Ah,
saying that several times. They called it the gingerbread house.
now wait a minute. How that come up? Wait a minute. You said that did Christmas gingerbread. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Now
it's
you
sweet.
should have gave us another clue.
But the first clue, I thought everybody would know the answer. So anyway, so the house, it was the gingerbread house. So Lydia Brew, she's a regular viewer of the show. She gets the autograph.
Tell her she lucky.
Congratulations, Lydia.
So thank you all for participating. This was a wonderful, lively discussion. Sadeqa, thank you for 1, writing such an amazing story, and 2, congratulations for the success of the book. And I hope it continues to succeed. And your writing is really, really exceptional.
Thank you.
So I
Thank
read a
you.
lot of books, and so your writing is very, very good. And so
Thank
you
you.
should be very proud. And your I like the historical part, and your details are meticulous. Your research
Yes,
is
for sure.
really on point. So
Thank
it's
you.
really great. So we are in the last 2 minutes, and we have to do our outro and close out. So thank you all the book clubs represented, We appreciate you. We'll let you know when we
Yeah.
have another kickback, so you can appreciate, you can
DMV
participate in
book club,
that.
call me, DMV
If you
book
all
club.
have a suggestion for a book, feel free to email me, because we're looking for books. It needs to be a widely talked about book. It needs to be a book by a major author, you know, someone who's experienced in selling books. So if you have a suggestion, and it needs to be a new book, because we only do new books on the Kickback. So it needs to be, and we try to do it like a month after the book comes out. So if you know some books that are coming out, we have some that we're looking at to do for the future. But if you have some suggestions, we're open to that. Please email us. Well, I'm already on it.
Are you? I'm halfway through it. I started it on the plane.
Okay, because it's not out. It's not out yet.
No,
So,
it's not
yeah,
out
it
yet.
comes out in June. So I'm already on it. I'm already
That's
on it.
not fair. That's not
Anyway.
fair. That's not fair.
Which
Okay,
book
but
was
I
it?
got it wrote down for
Yeah.
when it
So
come out.
anyway, thank you all for participating. We want to let all of our viewers know, thank you for watching. We will be back next Tuesday for another episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.